Hey guys, we're back with the neutral and dual class review. So welcome back. So the best neutral right now, based on my first impressions, is Smug Senior, 6 mana 5/7 taunt, Death Rattle. Basically return it to your hand or add a copy of it to your hand. I think it's really strong. I mean, the stats plus taunt, very good for its mana cost, and you get another copy of it. So it's two very strong bodies in one card. I have it at 84, which puts it slightly higher than other very strong 6-drops like Skystalker. I put it about the same as Scribe, although Scribe might be better in certain classes like Druid. So Druid kind of likes the tokens and so forth. But I think this card is very, very strong. The value from this card is almost as good as Emerald Explorer in some spots. Emerald Explorer, it has a similar, it has the same stat amount as Emerald Explorer, slightly better distribution. And then you get a Death Rattle. You get a Death Rattle 5/7 taunt, which is probably slightly under what a premium dragon is, right? So you could view this as almost like an Emerald Explorer. Emerald Explorer is like rated way higher, but I mean this card is no slouch. And I think 84 is it puts it as the best neutral common. Second best common, Fishy Flyer. Similar idea, the ghost cards, 4 mana 4/3 rush, so it's 4 damage for 4 mana. And when it dies, you get a copy of it in your hand. I mean, it's good value. It's playable as it is. You can use it to kill like 2/3s. You can use it to kill like a 1/4. So it's a good value card. It's removal. It's neutral. It even has a tribe. This card is going to be a high roll if you have the 5 mana Murloc that synergizes off demons. It's going to be a hella high roll. It's going to be a hella high roll if you get this off Murgurgle Prime. So I got it at 83, which is higher than Trollbat, but slightly worse than Mummy. I think Mummy is a better card because the impact of Mummy is immediate, whereas this is a little bit delayed and it costs more mana as well. But this is more of a value card, less of a tempo card, whereas Mummy is more of a tempo card. Shield of Honor. So this is the first dual class card we're going to go through. It's kind of paired in with all the neutral cards just because of the filtering with the Hearthreader right now. But we're going to go over this as if it's a neutral, but it's obviously a dual class card. 1 mana, give a damage minion plus 3 attack and Divine Shield. So it's a 2 mana discount from that card, Seal of Champions. The catch is you have to be damaged. So there's cards like Aug Merchant and stuff that you can damage stuff now. So I mean, this card is just insanely strong for 1 mana. The swing from this is just gonna be insane. I feel it's slightly better in Warrior because they have more ping activating spells. So I have it at 82. I believe I put it 82 in Warrior. I put it as 80 for Paladin. It's a little bit worse, but I mean it's still a pretty good premium card. Blessing of Might is only a 53, so this card is a pretty heavy premium. I think 82 puts it better than Kings, so I put it at 80, which is the same as Kings. It may or may not be better than Kings, I'm not 100% sure, but I like that it's such a huge tempo swing for so cheap. So our next card is Adorable Infestation. So this card you can't play and summon a 1/1. You have to play this on a minion. So it's a buff first, right? So this card is a buff first, and then it generates a 1/1, and then you get a 1/1 in your hand. So it's not truly a 1-drop, which kind of sucks, but you basically get 3/3 worth of stats for 2 mana, which is a good deal. It does a lot for 1 mana. The cubs are beasts, so it synergizes with both classes. I have them roughly at the same score. So this one's at 81. I think it's the same for both sides. Also, the comparison to Firefly is kind of okay too. I've seen some people compare it to Firefly. I've seen some people compare it to like a 1 mana +1/+1 plus a 1/1 like buff minion, or a 2 mana 2/2 buff a 1/1. Like it's just a really solid card. The only limitation is that it's not a true 1-drop by itself. So I have it at 81. It's still a great card. Yeah, I would pick this probably over like maybe Power of the Wild. I think Power of the Wild is probably close. Power of the Wild is just a really good card too. Alright, next card is Plagued Proto Drake. 8 mana 8/8 dragon is a big boy. Death Rattle, summon a random 7-cost minion. So the 7-cost pool seems possibly kind of high. There's some high variance on the 7-cost pool. Like you get like a 4/4. You get a 4/4, or you can get like, I don't know, Rap Golem. So the variance is definitely high. I compared this to Violet Worm back in the day. So Violet Worm was an 8 mana 7/7 that spawned 7 1/1s. This card's a little bit stronger initially, and the back end is a little bit higher variance, but the back end is probably better than 7 1/1s. So I put it at 81. I think Worm back in the day was like 76 or something in a different meta. I think 81 is probably good. Like it's still a great card. I mean, it could be a legendary, it could be a bad legendary. But I think this card is good. Compare it to like an 8 mana Skystalker. So Skystalker is a 6 mana 5/6. This is 8 mana 8/8. 7-drop is probably better equivalent wise than a 3/4, right? So yeah, 81. I penalized it for being a higher cost card. Sneeds is legendary. This is a comment, yeah. Okay, Wand Thief. 1 mana 1/2 combo, discover a mage spell. So I think this card benefits rogue more than it does benefit mage. Obviously it benefits both classes, but the mage spell really, I think, helps rogue more. Just because it gives rogues like access to huge AoE. It gives them to huge reach potential. Pyroblast, Fireball. And also like it gives them access to like some crazy stuff. Like they can do more crazy stuff now. So I think this card is pretty good. It's effectively a 1 mana card that discovers you a mage spell and gives you a 1/2 as long as you play something else with it on the same turn. So I mean, it's, you know, just don't play this on turn 1. That's it. Yeah, this card is very amazing. I have it at 80. It's probably low. I think Feral Cat is a 90. Feral Cat's a 90 right now, and I think we're pretty happy with its rating. So this card could be easily 85, 87, 86. So yeah, definitely can be a little bit higher. I have a conservative at 80. Definitely can be higher. Okay, so our next card is Steward of Scrolls. So everyone remembers Azure Drake. So they gave Azure Drake the ability to discover a spell. I think discovering a spell is probably better than drawing a card. Azure Drake I don't think would be that good in this meta. I initially thought this card would be insane. I mean, it's still good, but the problem is that it's only a 4/4 for 5, and based on modern day metas, that's just not going to cut it. So the obvious comparison is against Big Ol' Whelp as well. So Big Ol' Whelp is a 5 mana 5/5 that draws a card. In some classes, you probably prefer the 5/5 over the 4/4 with spell damage. Even though Scrolls helps you discover a spell. So I think both cards are pretty similar. Like for example, like Steward of Scrolls in like Warrior or Paladin. The spell discovery may or may not produce anything useful, and the spell damage is mostly useless, so you probably want the 5/5 in that spot. But the discover is obviously insane value, so I would maybe slightly like this card a little bit more than Big Ol' Whelp in most decks, I'd say. I penalized it a little bit in Warrior and Paladin, but I mean the discover is such high value that it's probably worth more than the card from your deck for sure. Yeah, so it's obviously has a huge boost for classes like Shaman, Mage, classes that can use spell damage. But in classes that can't really use it, outside of some neutral stuff, like, you know, it's the value is in the discover spell. So, but it's a great card. It's similar to Whelp. I'd probably take this over Whelp 4 out of 5 times maybe, just because I love the value of this card. So yeah, but we have it. I have it rating at 79, identical to Whelp. It's better in some classes. So next pick, 6 mana 4/9 Onyx Mage Scribe. 6 mana 4/9, so that's a new stat line. Spell Burst, add 2 random spells from your class to your hand. Is this card OP? I have it at 78. 78 as the baseline. It's a neutral card, so in some classes it'd be way better. I think in Mage I put it at 85. So 85 puts it in some pretty stiff competition. But I think I would pick this card over most generic minions. The Spell Burst is very strong in Mage, Priest, obviously Shaman because they have Eye of the Storm. A lot of potential there. But you probably want to see this card in Mage very often. Plus it has a dragon, so it's a dragon synergy card for Arcane Breath as well. I think the 4/9 stat line, it looks better than it actually is. It trades into a 5/5 effectively. This is good at killing scribes, you know, but it's not super good going up against like free trading into stuff. Most things like 5, 6, 7 mana, right? So the 9 health is just more relevant to keep it alive, so you get the spell burst damage, spell burst ability off. But the trading ability for this card is not fully there, but still a very impressive card. Definitely much better in certain classes, particularly Mage and Priest. Alright, so next card I have on my list of neutral commons is Lake Thrasher, 5 mana 4/6. It's a beast. Also damages the minions next to whoever this attacks. So it has built-in cleave. I mean, think about this with Aug Merchant, Rocket Aug. You have a rushing cleave 4-attack beast. The 6 health points on this minion is very relevant. It doesn't die to anything super common at this mana junction. Most things deal 5 damage. Not many things can kill this card. So if this card sticks on the board, it's just gonna be a lot of pain. This is a top priority kill. So I like it. I gave it a nice bonus over generic 5 mana 4/6. It's a beast. It's gonna be better in some classes with beast synergy like Hunter. It's a bigger Cave Hydra, right? It's a bigger, stronger Cave Hydra. And I think for 5 mana, it's a good point in the game where a card like this has huge impact with this 4 damage cleave. So yeah, it's a good card. 77. Next card is, okay, so dual class cards. Primordial Studies. 1 mana, discover a spell damage minion. Your next one costs 1 less. So it's a Shaman Mage spell, Shaman Mage card. I have it at 77. The reason why I like this card more than the Demon Discover, for example, is because the spell damage pool is relatively small, and there are some insane spell damage minions. Azure Drake, Prime, the new Raz minion, there's one more. Azure Drake, Raz, Prime minion. Lost it. Lost it for a second there. Oh, sorry, it's not Raz. Sorry, it's not Raz. Azure Drake, no, not Azure. Azure Explorer. Azure Explorer. Azure Explorer and the Prime. I think there's one more that's really good. I forget. Yeah, 5 mana 4/4. Was there another neutral that was really good? I forget. But the pool is very small, so the likelihood that you get one of those really strong plus spell damage cards is very high. So I feel like this card, the high roll potential is very good with this card. Oh, you get the Shaman one. Shaman Prime. Sorry. Shaman Prime. So you get the 2 Shaman Primes. Sorry. Mage Prime, Shaman Prime, Azure Explorer. Steward of Scrolls is a nice one. The bad ones would be like, I guess, the Mage 1-drop. Mage 1-drop, Kobold Geomancer. The 4 mana 3/3 that has +2. Violet Warden, I guess, is a taunt, but you know, Malagos, yeah, there's still some utility to those cards, but the pool is small, so the likelihood is that pretty high that you're gonna get something good. Squall Hunter, yeah, that's the one. Squall Hunter, yeah. Animated Broomstick, 1 mana 1/1. I like this card. It's Rush, Battlecry, give your other minions Rush. So for only 1 mana, you can basically make your whole board attack. But I mean, you have to build a board and then give it all Rush, right? So the upside is there. I compared it to the Rocket Og when I did the rating for this. I think the Rocket Og is a little bit better because the Rocket Og, first of all, is a 2/1. Second of all, it deals damage. A lot of times you use the damage to ping, right? So, but in that same sense, this card is a ping in itself, so it still has utility that way. So I put it pretty close to the Og, but I like that the battle cry is so powerful, and this card is only a 1-cost card. So I think it could be even higher than this. Thanks, man. Let's see. Our next card is Sorceress Substitute. 6 mana 6/6 battle cry. If you have spell damage, summon a copy of this.
I love you, man, both in a sexual and non-sexual way.
It's going on YouTube, man. Alright, thanks, man. Appreciate it, dude. Sorceress Substitute, so 6 mana 6/6. If you have spell damage, summon a copy of this. I don't like this card because it's going to be really painful when they drop this on you and you have to deal with this. It's a good card. I gave it a little bit of a upside at 75. It's higher in certain classes with more spell damage, like Mage and Shaman. But this card really feels bad moment if it lands on you. So 75 is, yeah. Next card, Ogre Mancer, 5 mana 3/7. And then if your opponent casts a spell, summon a 2/2 skeleton with taunt. I think this is fair. I would probably pick this over like I would probably pick this over like a 5 mana, like a Pit Fighter. I would pick this over a 5 mana 5/6, I think. I think this is pretty good. I like this card. So I have it at 73. Pit Fighter's at 68. So I would probably pick, like, for me, I'd pick this over it. But I mean, I could maybe consider picking a Pit Fighter. I think this card's pretty good. It would jam up your opponent once in a while. Yeah, Spell Burst counter for sure. Alright, so another dual class card, Spirit Jailer. 1 mana 1/3, so good stats. Shuffle 2 fragments in your deck, so it's a Warlock Demon Hunter card. So if you're going for shard shenanigans, you 100% need cards like this, which are totally good, that have the shard mechanic built in. So you want cards like this in your deck. It wouldn't be an issue. It would not be an issue for Warlock to take cards like this because they want 1-drops anyways for like Genius and stuff like that. But this card is solid. I got it at 73. Daramo is like 61-ish, mid 60-ish. So it's a decent premium for the fragments. Very relevant cards for Demon Hunter and Warlock. Mana Feeder Panthera. 2 mana 2/3 beast. So River Croclus is crying. Battle Cry, if you use your hero power this turn, draw a card. So for most classes, it's a 4 mana 2/3 draw a card. Not the best. It's playable in some spots for a cycle, basically. Maybe some turns you're gonna be hero powering anyways, right? So I have it at 70. It's pretty high premium for the upside, but the upside is always attainable on every class, no matter what. It just costs you mana. River Croclus, for reference, is a 57. So this is a 70 as its base score. It's better in Demon Hunter only, and it's probably worse in Priest because Priest and Warrior, because you don't want to hero power that often. But generally it's a pretty good card. It cycles itself, and in the late game you're probably hero powering anyways, so solid 70 card. Next card, Crimson Hothead. 4 mana 3/6 dragon, decent stats. Lost stats. Spell Burst, gain +1 attack, and taunt. So it becomes a nesting rock if you play Spell Burst. It's not the most powerful Spell Burst, but it's fair. It's a nice upside. It's a dragon, so it helps. It's a neutral dragon. It's definitely draftable. So it definitely helps with dragon synergy and stuff like that for all classes. I have it at 67, which is higher than Yeti by 1 point. So I think I like this card a little bit more than Yeti. The 6 health is very relevant. I've been kind of talking about this because there's a lot of things deal 5 damage in the meta, but nothing really deals with 6. So this is a really decent durable body for 4. Next card, Divine Rager, 4 mana 5/1, Divine Shield. It's similar to Cursed Disciple from the past, except this card is better with buffs. So if you buff this card, it retains the buff instead of just dying. So I mean, Death Rattle, it's kind of like the issue with Shield at Minibot versus Shotbot. So Shotbot basically has a Death Rattle versus Shield Minibot that has synergy with buffs, right, without dying. So this card, similar. I put it as the identical score as Cursed Disciple, but I could see this being a little bit better. I think it's okay, but in a meta with lots of pings and augs, this is probably not as good. Uh, 3/6. I don't think 3/6. I mean, a lot of times the 4 attack on Yeti is more relevant, right? It's just that this card with the 1 health is just slightly better than Yeti right now, because I think the baseline 3/6 is not as good as the baseline 4/5 in most metas. Just this meta is that it's better. So usually the baseline 3/6 for this is probably like 64, whereas Yeti is 66. In this meta, this card is a little bit better than Yeti. But yeah, tired of hearing Lovely Day. Pen Flinger. Wait, no, Wand Maker. 2 mana 2/2, add a 1-cost spell from your class to your hand. So it's a smaller spellkin that gives you only 1 card. It's good in the same classes where Spellkin is good, but I think Spellkin is a lot better, even though the body per cost is worse, just because it gives you 2 cards. So 2 shots at the good cards, whereas this only gives you 1 card. It's still good. 65 is still a hefty premium over a non-Battlecry version of this card. But it's going to be better in certain classes. Priest, Mage, Shaman, to name a few. Some bad classes would be like Paladin. But Paladin has the new spell now with the +3 attack. But this card is going to be better in certain classes. Yeah, it gets the studies as well, yep. So it's going to be good, but it only gives you one card, so you only have one chance to go for it. And the pool for one cost cards is quite large right now, so yeah. Next card is Pen Flinger, 1 mana 1/1, deal 1 damage. So it's an Elven Archer, spell burst, return to your hand. It's a repeatable, basically it's a repeatable card as long as you have mana in the spell. So it gets a slight bonus over Elven Archer. Elven Archer is a 61. I put this at 63 because then you can basically play this twice in one turn if you have a spell to bounce it back. Where can you see this? So basically these are my scores for Hearth Arena. They're not published yet. These are my own opinions. They're not revised based on first impressions. But these will be published when the expansion drops via Hearth Arena. So Blood Herald. So it has the dual class Demon Hunter card. Blood Herald, 5 mana 1/1. Whenever a friendly minion dies while this is in your hand, gain +1/+1. I'm not too huge on this card. I have it at 62. First of all, it's friendly minion die. If you played one minion every turn for 4 turns, this card on turn 5 is a 5/5. I think if you just had this card in your hand, sat on it all game, and then dropped it later, you show up with a 10/10 for 5 mana, that's gonna need to get answered, right? I think it's a bit optimistic. I could definitely go down on it. I'm not too high on this card, like personally, but I feel like that scenario is very likely. I don't think we can discredit this card too much because of how strong Netherdomis is. Netherdomis is the Demon Hunter legendary dragon that summons the stupid things from friendly minion deaths. Obviously this card is not as good as that, but it shows that the friendly dying mechanic does work. So I feel like this card, it might show up as a 10/10 in some games, and it's gonna swing the game, right? I don't know. Like I said, I could be swung down. I'm not too stubborn on this card, to be honest. And I know this card is going to be a bit of debate that we have to talk about for sure. Netherdomis has to be in hand. Yes, same kind of thing, and it has to be friendly minion. The dual class with no minion type. Yeah, it's weird. Sneaky Delinquent, 2 mana 3/1, stealth. Death Row, add a 3/1 ghost with stealth to your hand. So we had a card like this, 2 mana 3/1 stealth, Twisted Worgen, I believe. I think I was rated about 50. So this is at 62. Again, for reference, River Croc and Razorfin. No, River Croc and Raptor is about 57. So this card is clearly better than those cards. 62. I think it could even be higher than 62 because you get 2 cards for this. So this card is really solid. Wretched Tutor, 4 mana 2/5, Spellburst, deal 2 damage to all other enemies. Baseline stats are pretty bad, but I think the ability to have a neutral AoE does have some value. So I do like that this card offers that option to people drafting. So I mean, I gave it a 60, which is incredibly high for the baseline stats. So its value has to come from the Spellburst. Yeah, that's kind of it. I like this card enough that I would give it a higher rating for the option to draft it if you have a deck that kind of needs it. Like for example, if you have like a mage or a priest deck and you don't have the AoE, like this card is definitely usable. So You think it's low? I thought it was high. The baseline stats make it unplayable on turn 4. 2/5 is almost unplayable for 2/4 for 4 mana. So you would have to play this basically on the turn that you have the spell most of the time. I don't know. I think it's fair. I don't think I'm too low on it, but I think I'm too high on it. I think I'm high on it. Yeah, that's what I think. I think I'm high on it, but I like it because it's an option for drafting, right? And it's neutral, so. Intrepid Initiate, 1 mana 1/2, spell burst, gain +2 attack. So it's a 1 mana 3/2 with the coin. So you can play this on turn 1, coin it, coin another 1-drop, or you can play this on turn 2, coin a 2-drop, and then you have 2 2-drops or whatever. So it's a 1 mana 3/2. I mean, I have it at 56. A baseline 1/2 is like a 42 or something, or 40. So it's a pretty big premium over a normal 1 mana 1/2. I mean, the obvious play is to play this with a coin. You're not going to get too much out of it most of the time, but it's still not too bad. Next card is Tour Guide. This card has probably the widest range of scores that I had to put in this expansion. Rogue at a 1 mana +1, yeah, similar to that card, exactly. But that card is better because it's a combo card, and this is a spell-only card, so it's less good. But Tour Guide has the highest range of numbers. I mean, I can give you guys a look here. This is a class breakdown that I had to go through. So I put the base score as 55. Like a 1 mana 1/1, a 1 mana 1 attack minion is pretty good, 65. 1 mana heal for 2 is pretty bad. 1 mana draw a card, pretty good. Shaman, 1 mana plus a totem, pretty good. 1 mana plus dagger. I value that the highest. I think that's really strong. You get a dagger, which is huge tempo, plus an additional 1/1. So this card is really strong in Rogue. In Priest, like turn 1, it does nothing. Actually, this probably could be even lower. Paladin, you get 2 1/1s for 1 mana. It's pretty good. Mage, you have an Elven Archer. It's not bad. Hunter, you deal 2 damage to the guy's face. It's okay. And then this one, you deal 1 damage, heal for 1. So, I mean, it's a pretty wide range. It's going to be class dependent, but definitely not bad here. How is it that high for DH? I compared it to the 2/1 that gives +1 attack. I think that card for DH... actually, that's not the right thing. Showing you... Hold on, where am I now? Okay, this is the right page. DH. I compared it to the 2/1, I believe, that gave 1 damage. What is that card called? Oh, Shadowhoof Slayer. Yeah. Shadowhoof Slayer, I have it at 79. So for Tour Guide, what is this? Tour Guide? Yeah, Tour Guide at 61. So it's like you penalize it for having 1 less attack. Strictly worse for DH than for Druid. That's a good catch. That's a good catch. 65. Yeah, it should be better here. So this for Druid, you get 1 attack plus a heal. Yeah, that's a good 1-drop. Okay. I mean, it's just 1 card like 10 scores. Like, you know what I mean? It's like all of them are totally different. So I'm bound to make a mistake on it. Like I said, these are just first impressions, but thanks for the catch there. Okay, so next card, Wave of Apathy. Set attack of enemy minions to 1 until your next turn. So it's a mass effect Humility. I think this is stronger than Humility, most likely. For 1 mana, I think it's totally good. I think for Priest and Paladin, they both have different ways to efficiently use this card. Like they can go, like you can make everything 1 and then like steal something with Priest or kill something with Pain. And then Paladin can change things to 1 attack and then trade off with board control and stuff. So I didn't really give a bonus to either one. I put it at 55. Humility's at 51. So I think I like this card a little bit more than Humility. Raise the Dead. It didn't have the right. Raise the Dead didn't have the right picture, so bear with me. But basically, Raise the Dead. Okay. Raise the Dead. 0 mana, deal 3 damage to your hero, return 2 friendly minions that died this game to your hand. So this card is really good in Priest, because you basically draw 2 cards for 3 health. And Priest can heal, right? So it's going to be worse in Warlock, because drawing 2 cards is not as important for Warlock as it, you know, health-wise, right? But I mean, it's still pretty good. Obviously, you need stuff to die first, and it's random. So I think I have it. I have it at 51 for Warlock and 60 for Priest. It might be a little bit low. 60 for Priest might be low. It might be actually be higher, because getting 2 cards back from the grave for Priest is actually really strong, basically for free. Yeah, it should be higher, I think. Raise the Dead should be higher, but this card wasn't inputted in early enough, and I didn't really have too much time to revision it. Like you said, like you guys see, it's a fluffy broom, so it should be better intellect. Intellect's unconditional, can draw spells as opposed to just minions, but it's a little bit different. But I think for 0 cost draw 2, it's still very strong. Yeah, I'd probably increase the scores on this quite a bit. Yeah, I think so. Lightning Bloom. Lightning Bloom. 0 mana, gain 2 mana crystals this turn, overload 2. I have it at 50. I think Druid can use this a little bit better, because they have bigger, like, kind of bigger minions-ish, more on average. But I mean, it's 50. It's kind of like better than Innervate pre-nerf, I think. You don't think it's that good? Overload matters a lot. Maybe. This could be bad, yeah. Bloom into Maximus? Yeah. I could see this card being worse, but I put it as a 50 to start. But like I said, it needs to be revised a little bit here. How do you rate the power level overall? I think it's very strong. As a set, it's very good. Overall, most of the cards are very strong. It's not too many bad cards. Some classes obviously got more stronger cards. Paladin, for example. We put Desk Imp here. It's an upgrade over Wisp in most spots. Mainly Warlock. But it's rated at 23. Alright, moving on. So this is the strongest dual class card that we have, I think. Brittle Bone Destroyer, 4 mana 3/3. If your hero's health changed this turn, destroy a minion. Yeah, it's pretty strong. I have it at 111. Aeon Reaver's 110. Rift Cleaver is 97. It's better in Warlock because Warlock almost guarantees it unless you have too low health to use it. whereas Priest might not want to heal your face. So, but I mean, it's still an insane card. Still an insane card. Next card we have is Coerce. 3 mana, Rogue, Warrior split. Destroy a damaged minion. So it's the same as Execute for 3 mana, but the combo is destroy any minion. Super insane. Like 3 mana, destroy anything. 3 mana, Assassinate. I don't know. Warrior benefits from this card more than Rogue, I think. Yeah, I think I might be low on it. I put it at 95. I put it at 95, and I think I might be low on it. It's an insane card. The combo should not be hard to activate. It's a cheap card. It only costs 3, so you can pair this. You can kill something huge for 3 mana, and then have something else come out as well. So yeah, it's insanely strong. I mean, it definitely could be higher. I don't know. Shit. Like 95 puts it around Quartermaster, Gang Arg. Gang Arg's 100. Like, would you take this over Gang Arg? Would you take this over Quartermaster? Like, would you take this over Rap Golem? Some pretty strong cards here, right? Yeah, some pretty strong cards there. So, I mean, 95 we can start there, and I'll probably just revise up or down based on how I think. But it's definitely good, and it's better in Warrior with the hard removal. Next card is Demon Companion. So the Demon Companions are generally pretty strong for 1 mana. So I put this at 80, which is the same cost as Firefly, with the same score as Firefly, but you only get 1 copy, of course. But there's like a 2 mana, there's like a 1 mana 2/2 taunt. Like that's really strong for 1 mana. I mean, it's good. It's a hunter. What is it? It's a hunter, demon hunter card. So pretty cool. Cool stuff. Good for those tempo aggressive decks. Yeah, 1 mana Frostwolf Grunt. That's right. Next card, 2 mana Soul Shear. Deal 3 damage to a minion, which is pretty standard. Shuffle 2 fragments in your deck. Warlock and Demon Hunter card. I mean, it's super standard. It's a 78, which is the same as Wrath. I think this card is probably similar to Wrath. And it gives you 2 healing cards in classes that need healing, and it's the engine for the shard mechanic, shard strategy. So Dark Bomb can go face, so Dark Bomb might be a bit better. But next card, Teacher's Pet, 5 mana 4/5 Hunter Druid card. It has taunt, so that's decent. Death Rattle, summon a random 3-cost beast. So 3-cost beast can be Zixor. Yeah, it could be Zixor, it could be whatever can pop out of exotic Mount Seller, which are some pretty crazy stuff sometimes. I have this at 78. I think this card is basically a weaker Skystalker. You can get a Cobra out of it. Yeah, I think this is really good. Super solid card. And it's a beast too. So it's a beast and it gives you a beast. Pretty good. Upgrade Sludge Belcher. Yeah. I think Sludge Belcher is rated 80 or 81. But yeah, this card is probably pretty close. Or it could be better actually. Actually, it could be probably better than this. 3 mana 1/1. Yeah, it could be Desert Hare for sure. Next card is Robes of Protection. So 3 mana, 2/4. Your minions can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. So it's a board-wide aura. So as long as this card is alive, it buffs your whole board. This card is freaking insane if you have the board. I put it at 72, which is a pretty good boost over its baseline bad stats. 3 mana, 2/4 just doesn't cut it nowadays. A lot of 4/3s, kills it off for free. It's going to be better, and I mean, it's good early, it's good late, but you need a board to make this card insanely good. But yeah, I put it 72. Like I don't feel like it's like a Spider Tank is 67, so I don't feel like it's too optimistic on the card, but I don't feel like it's too pessimistic. Like I like it, and I'd probably take one if I needed it or something like it, but it's okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be like over the moon for this card, you know what I mean? It's a fine card. Next card is Brain Freeze. So this card is interesting because the relevant part of this card is the damage, in my opinion. So a lot of times you probably want it for 3 damage to kill something, not to kill it, not to deal 3 and then freeze it. So a lot of times the freeze effect doesn't do anything. So you want it for its combo, but then you don't get the value from the freeze. I mean, it's fine, right? It's fine. It's gonna be like a Frostbolt for 1 mana once in a while that can only target a minion. Frostbolt's a 79. I have this at 70, which I think is probably okay. I could see this being a little bit worse. I don't think like the way it's set up for the combo to be at the back, like combo 3 damage is worse than. Well, obviously it's way worse, but yeah, it's a fair card. I think it's a fair card. I think 70 might be high on this, but it's fair. Alright. This card's interesting. Ferocious Reader. 2 mana, 1/3. It's only one-sided effect. At the end of your turn, draw until you have 3 cards. So you have a Jeeves effect. It's a Jeeves effect. And it's one-sided. And it costs 2 less. It's so freaking better than Jeeves. I have it at 65. In Arena, this card might not be that good. But, I mean, there's no real drawback other than +1 attack over a River Crocolisk. So, I mean, there's no real drawback to taking this card. And you can really save yourself if you just have one of these and you're out of stuff. I think this card actually maybe deserves to be higher score. I think it might be a meta changer because it can change the way you draft and it can save you for 2 mana. Yeah, I like the fact that it's single-sided. Yeah, the effect is very strong. It might actually be higher. This is going to be an interesting card to review with the other guys. Yeah, that's the other thing. How often will you run out of cards? But how bad is it to have a 2 mana insurance card? You know what I mean? And it's kind of insurance. It's a 2 mana card, and it's. All right, Trick Totem. So Yogg Saron's Totem, right? 2 mana, 0/3. Oh, it has 3 health. It has 3 health. It's gonna be hard to die. At the end of your turn, cast a random spell that costs 3 or less. Fuck. So it could be a secret. It could be Lightning Storm. So you can overload yourself. You could Frostbolt it. You could cast Evocation and then nothing happens. Oh shit, it's from any class. Totemic Reflection. Oh, it's from any class. Oh my goodness. I feel like generally this card is going to be good though, because there's a lot of discover cards, like cheap discover, cheap draw. It's going to be generally pretty good. Like it might nuke itself once in a while. Like it's gonna nuke itself once in a while, right? Like you know, Frostbolt or whatever, Soulfire. Like it's gonna nuke itself, right? Once in a while. But in general, it's gonna be pretty good. Like it's gonna give you like a secret. It's gonna draw you some cards. It might cast you like Animal Companion. Like maybe it casts you Animal Companion. Like holy shit. You know what I mean? Like for 2 mana, like it can't wreck you so bad, right? Like actually, I think this card's pretty good. Actually, I'm probably gonna go up on it. I like this card actually. I think 67 will start, and then we'll go from there. I like this card. The more I think about it, the better it is. Yeah, the more I think about it, the better it is. What's the next card here? Cult Neophyte. 2 mana 3/2, so it's a better Raptor. Your opponent's spells cost 1 more next turn. Is it going to be game changing? Probably not, but if you play this on turn 2, your opponent can't play the coin, which might be important. If you deny your opponent the coin play, it might be important. I mean, it's an upgrade Raptor. Raptor is 57, so this is 60. I think it's kind of fair. It's probably not going to be too much better. I have Commencement at 30. I feel like this card needs at least a 5/5 to make this card playable. I rated it at 30. 30 is in the bad. It's in the bad category. Still draftable, but Paladin generally curves lighter, so you're never going to get a huge minion. Like the odds are not in your favor, that's for sure. Yeah. Better than duel? Yes it is. Yes it is. Alright, moving on to epics. The best epic in the set, Transfer Student. Transfer Student, all the abilities from Transfer Student are very good. There's Discover Dragon, 2 mana. It's a 2 mana lackey, Dragon Lackey. There's a 2 mana mini bot, so it's a shielded mini bot. There's a 2 mana Plague, so it gives you a random Plague card. So Plague can be Plague of Death. That's a huge value card. The Warrior. Oh, wait, hold on. What's the other one? Plague of Flames. The Warlock one can be decent removal once in a while. I forget, but I looked over all the abilities and I was like, you know what? This card's really good. I think one of them was like +1/+2. Like can give another minion +1/+2 or something. But it's such a, all the abilities are good and all the abilities like will do something impactful, and it's only a 2 mana card. So I mean, 92 puts it in Pickrock territory. So cards that do different things, but yes, two mana, deal 2 damage. Yep. So it's really good, but it's rated really high against cards that are maybe more late game viable. So it really depends what you have it up against. Yep, Discover Dragon. Oh, gives you a random dual class card. Nice. Dormant, deal 3 to 2 minions. Okay. So it's like an imprisoned guy. Yeah. Really strong. Dual class cards, so Rogue and Warrior. Steel Dancer, 4 mana 4/4. Battlecry, summon a random minion with cost equal to your weapon's attack. So in Rogue, it's probably 90% of the time going to be a 1/1. So you get a 4/4 plus a, 4/4 plus a 1 cost minion, which is probably like a 1/1 or a 1/2. So seems pretty good. Very normal stats. Occasionally you might get a Perdition's Blade or something. You get a 2-drop with it, which is really, really good. In Warrior, the opportunity to high roll is quite high. Arcanite Reaper, obviously. You get a 4-drop and a 5-drop. Hello. Yeah, 2-mana Reborn, so you have a Shotbot, and then the other one is a Stealth Poisonous, so you have a 2-mana Wasp. It's just really good. Devout Pupil. So you have Sunwalker Reborn here as a dual class card with Paladin and Priest. Upgraded, costs 1 less for each spell you cast on friendly characters this game. So, I mean, if you have cheap Librams, then this card can be potentially free, but you're probably looking at maybe 1 discount, maybe 2 in Paladin. Sunwalker's a 68. So this I gave a bit of a bonus for 74. Even if this gets reduced by 1, it's going to be an insane deal for 5 mana. True Aim Crescent. So it's a hunter DH weapon. It's a ping. It's great. It's great for hunter. I have it at 72 as a ping class weapon. So, but I'm not 100% sure how this thing works. Does this mean that your minions can attack twice? Like, if you attack with your minions, and then you use this to attack a minion, does your minions also attack that minion again? That is pretty good. I have to agree, that is pretty good. So this card might actually go up. 72 is with the assumption that it's basically like as is for Hunter. But I can see this being better now with that double attack. Alright. Flesh Giant. 8 mana 8/8. I mean, fair baseline stats. Nothing extreme. It gets 1 less each time your hero's health change during your turns. So my assumption is, based on the wording, is that this effect happens even if this is in your deck. So this potentially could be a very cheap 8/8, and I think relatively reliably, especially in Warlock. Like if cards like Hellfire and those cards that self-damage yourself, especially your hero power and stuff. I mean, we could see this as 4 mana. I have this at 70. It might be a bit low. Sea Giant I think is at 82. So this card could be potentially Sea Giant level, but I don't think it's as good as Sea. It's not going to be as consistent as Sea Giant. So I think 70 is a decent conservative starting point, but I could see it being like a 72, 73 type card. Alright, next card, dual class card is Runic Carving, 6 mana. Summon 4 Treant Totems. So they're basically just 2/2s with double tags or whatever. For synergy purposes or Waste Warden purposes. So you get 8/8 worth of stats for 6. You have the option to overload for 2 and you give them rush. 8/8 for 6. Silverhand Knight's rated at 68. 6/6 worth of stats for 5. This is 8/8 for 6. It's probably similar. So I put it at 69 just because it does have the option for initiative. I think it's overpriced. 8 mana for 8/8 with rush. Feels overpriced, but I think it's still decent card. I initially didn't like this card, but after thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. 8/8 for 6, and then you get the option to rush them. It's fine. Even if it's expensive, at least you have the option. Educated Elic, 3 mana 3/4. Whenever you play a spell, this minion remembers it. Death Rouse, shuffle the spell back in your deck. I mean, this card is probably just going to live like 1 turn. In that 1 turn, it's probably going to die to the 1 spell that kills it. So, like, you know, most likely in the late game it'll be a big spell. In the early game, it'll get traded off, so no spells happen. I mean, and you might not even draw the spell to benefit from it, and it might be a bad spell that you don't want. So I basically put it as the same as the Spider Tank, 68. Okay, this card is actually interesting because I'm not too sure about this card. But it's a 3 mana 1/6 with Spell Burst. Cast a random spell of the same cost. The stats are bad, but I feel like the swing from this card can be huge. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this card is good. I think it's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think this card is on the bad side. I have a very optimistic 59 on it, which is better than a River Crocolisk. I might take this over like River Crocolisk. I would take this. I might take this over a generic 3/3. I think a 3/3 is rated 50. A 3 mana 3/3 is rated 50. So I don't know. It's probably optimistic at 59. It could be way worse than that. So Ceremonial Maul. I put this at 55. I don't think it's a very good weapon. It's in two classes that don't have great expensive spells to make it really worthwhile. They have decent cheaper spells, but Paladin has slightly better, bigger spells now with the 5 mana +8/+8 card, and Libram, of course. But I put this card better in Paladin because Paladin has less weapons than Warrior does, and Warrior definitely doesn't need a 3 mana 2/2 weapon. That's going to give him a 1/1 taunt most of the time. So I think 55 is probably okay. It's an average weapon. Devolving Missiles, 1 mana spell. Shoot 3 missiles at a random enemy minions that transform them into ones that cost 1 less. So I assume that it can hit the same minion 3 times, so it brings it down 3 mana's worth for 1 mana. On a wide board, it's not good because it's pretty random. But if you're playing this to kill a small minion that's been buffed up, like for example Paladin, this is a pretty cheap way to turn a Silverhand Knight into a Wisp that has an 8/8 buff on it. So I think it has useless. I think it's pretty good for its mana cost, but it's going to be pretty situational. Yeah, I agree. I compared this to Devolve. Devolve was rated at 51, so I put this a bit higher as 55. I could see this being better because it's even cheaper and it could even do more. So I could see this being okay. Potion of Illusion. This card's interesting. I initially thought this was like Echo of Medivh, where you needed minions on the board, but it's actually not. It's minions in your hand. So it's a dual class card. I mean, Rogue probably utilizes this a little bit better. Echo of Medivh, I believe, is like a 41. So but that card is totally different because it requires minions on the board. This one's from your hand. It copies minions on board. Copies minions to your hand. Oh, you're right. So it is what I thought it was. Shit, why did I think it was the other one? Okay, so it takes minions from the board. Okay, shit, so it shouldn't even be rated 50. I don't think this is that much better than Echo of Medivh, if it even is better than Echo of Medivh. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're good. This is why I converse. But yeah, it has the same, it's Echo of Medivh, but you get the 1/1 copies. I don't know if this is actually better than Echo of Medivh. So, I don't know. I think 50 is too high. So Echo Medivh is 41. So if we base it off that, then we have to bring it down a little bit. Echo Medivh was never super good anyways. How is it compared to Barista? Barista is like a 68 or something, high 60. It's better for huge value minions. Like a 1 mana Caligos or something. That's true, it's better for huge value minions. I mean, it's good with the Cursed Vagrant. Think about it, I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on this. I don't think this card is gonna be great. Like, even a 50, I'm like average. I'm like, maybe. Yeah. Alright, moving on. Philosophy. 1 mana, copy the lowest cost demon in your hand. Warlock and Demon Hunter. Outcast, give both +1/+1. Not a huge fan of this card. I mean, it's pretty situational. I mean, I put it at 48, below average. 2 mana cycle, like Shiv is like, I don't know, 55 or something, but it deals 1 damage. Flare is 45, so I think this is slightly better than Flare. Maybe, because at least it's only 1 mana to draw a card, but it requires you to have a demon. It's going to be worse in Warlock because you don't really care too much about the draw mechanic. But yeah, I mean, it can be good value. It's just kind of situational, right? It's a lot worse than obviously the 1 mana Discover cards, even with the Outcast. But it's not too bad, I guess. It's definitely draftable, but the consistency is the issue, right? Alright, and our 1 terrible card in the Epic slot. Hunter, Druid, dual class card, Guardian Animals. 7 mana, summon 2 beasts that cost 5 or less from your deck, give them rush. I think this card's pretty bad, man. Like, if you pull 2 2-cost cards, it's pretty bad. Maybe if you pull like 2 snakes, 2 of those 1/2 snakes, give them rush. If you pull a Poisonous minion, that's good. I guess if you pull the Thrasher, the Lake Thrasher, 2 of those guys, ooh. Double cleave damage, that can be pretty good. But I think generally this card is like super expensive, it's super inconsistent. I don't know. Pull double 5/4, draw 2, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'm too hard on this card. I don't feel this card at all. But maybe I'm too hard on it. The beast pool is much better now, so it could be more viable. I could see this card going up, but I don't see this card going up. Commencement. Yeah, it's just consistency issues, right? Like for Arena, like it's just consistency issues. Alright, let's go to the Legendaries. So these are Legendaries from the new set, dual class. So we have Instructor, Fellheart. I think we went over this. So the next dual class card is Ace Hunter Kreen. I have this at 90, which is just under my Maeve, just under Maeve. Just higher Octosari for most classes. So I really like this card. Like if you guys remember Deathspeaker, Deathspeaker was a 78. It's a single target effect similar to this. But this is a board-wide effect, and it affects your face. I could see it being higher, but at the end of the day, this card requires a board. It's non-threatening by itself, so it does need help. So I think it's not as good as obviously its effect appears to be. I'm conservative with this card. I know it's good. But the cards that it's up against do stuff by itself, like by themselves, and they don't require other cards to be good. Yeah, if it survives, it's over. I mean, if you're trading, it can't be that over. gets stolen by Priest. Yeah, if you have a board, this card is game winning. If you have a board, this card is game winning. I mean, it's always like a card like Righteousness, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, right? Like, if you have a board, a lot of cards are game ending, right? You know, this is like a Righteousness that leaves you a 3/4, and it got 3, and it is reoccurring. I mean, you know, obviously it's better than Righteousness, but anyways, we know it's insane. How insane, we'll have to see, but I like this card. Next card, Mage Rogue, dual class card, Janus Barov. Battlecry, summon 2 random 5-cost minions. Secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. So the strategy here would probably to pick the smaller minion to die to single damage. Assuming that you get 2 average stated minions, you get like 2 4/4s. So you get 2 4/4s and a 2/1 for 5 mana. I mean, you get a better Silverhand Knight. And it's going to be way better because you have an extra 4/4 on the board. So I have it at 86, which puts it higher than for Mage and Rogue. It's higher than your Sarah for sure. Yeah, I have it higher than Baron Geddon, Antonidas, Malagos, Shumaw. Yeah, I like the card. I think it's decent. Doppelganger? Doppelganger is like a 71 or something? 70? 72? Back in the day. Or you 5-head and pick the bigger minion? Oh man, that's funny. Sorry, I mucked up the stuff now. Show only new cards. I like the card. I think it's good. You get pretty good stats. It's 5 mana. Sometimes you can high roll, sometimes you low roll, but on average you get 2 4/4s. Next card, Keymaster Alabaster. 7 mana, 6/8. Decent, fair stats. Its upside is pretty strong. Whenever your opponent draws a card, add a copy to your hand that costs 1. So you play this, you pass, your opponent draws a card, you draw a card that now costs 1. So this card is reoccurring. So I mean, this thing's a huge threat, but it's a value card because it draws you cards. It won't save you immediately. But I like it. I think it's good. If you need a value card, this card's not bad. Game knowledge, sure, yeah. Game knowledge. Alright, so we did that one. Dual class Warrior Paladin, 3 mana, 3/2. Battlecry, set the health of all other minions to 1. So it's a 3 mana equality with the 3/2 body. Death Rattle, deal 1 damage to all minions. So it has a whirlwind baked into it. I put it at 80. I don't think it's as crazy as it seems. By itself, it doesn't really do anything. You need support. You need a board to trade into stuff. It's not like Librum of Justice where you can play it and then have a weapon that kills the thing. You don't need the board support, but if you have the board support, you just win the game. The fact that this is kind of double-sided equality is also not as good. It's going to be better in Warrior because it helps them kill big minions, whereas Paladin can neutralize big minions a bit easier. So, I mean, I like the card. I think it's fine. I don't think it's overpowered or anything like that. I think it's good. It's good. Packs 3 cards into 1. A Raptor, Equality, plus Whirlwind. There was no... there was Tentacle of Nazoth 1 mana, 1/1. Death Rattle, deal 1 damage. Good card. Alright. Soulceologist Malicia. 7 mana, 5/5. For each soul in your deck, summon a 3/3 rush. It's a 5/5. So if you pull 1 rush, it's probably pretty good. You get 88 stats with 3 of it being rush. So it's like a 7 mana shittier fire elemental, which is still okay. Actually, it's a way shittier fire elemental, but fire elemental is like a 105 point card. So I have this at 75. Slightly optimistic that it'll pull 1, but I'm not a huge fan of the shard mechanic. I don't think it's going to happen very often. So that's going to be like, it's probably an optimistic score at 75. It might be closer to 70. Karn, for example, is like a 78. Would I pick Karn over this? Maybe. If I don't have any shards, I probably would. Kai, you're assuming, but the thing is, you're packaging a 5/5 for 5, which is not a very good card. And now you're packaging it into a 7 cost card, which needs added benefit because it costs 7. So it has to be way better for this card to be better. You know what I mean? Five mana 5/5 isn't bad. It's not good. Yeah, I think this is optimistic score. It could be probably closer to 70. Hogger is about 71. So Vectis. I think this card should be higher actually. I rated this a little low. 5 mana 4/4, summon 2 1/1 whelps, so I guess they're dragons. Each gains a death rattle from the minions that have died this game. So I assume that the 1/1s can copy the same death rattle of 1 minion. So that's what I'm assuming. So if you have 1 loot hoarder that died on turn 2, both of the 1/1s get the loot hoarder ability? No? Okay, if that's not the case, then I don't know if I should change the score. Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that info. So it does not. So you need 2 death rattle minions to trigger both 1/1s. Okay, interesting. But I don't really look at the death rattle. I basically just look at it base stats, and then I give it a little bonus for the upside. But Silverhand Knight is a 68. It's a 4/4 and a 2/2. This is the identical stats over 3 bodies. I put this at 72 to give it a little bit of upside for the death rattle. So I mean, it's a pretty good card. Next card, Disciplinarian Gandling. 4 mana 3/6. After you play a minion, destroy it. Summon a 4/4 failed student. Base stats are good. The upside can be good. It also triggers death rattles right away too. It's good with lackeys, it's good with aug merchants, so there are ways to make this card really strong, and obviously a tempo from this can be very, very good. I rate it at 70, 4 points higher than a Yeti. We were talking about how the baseline 3/6 is about the same, slightly worse than Yeti usually, but in this meta 6 health is pretty important. A lot of things don't die with 6 health, whereas 5 health just gets wiped away. Next card, Dr. Krastenov, 5 mana 4/4 rush. I mean, it's relevant, but 5 mana 4/4 is just not super strong nowadays. Whenever this attacks, give your weapon +1/+1. So you're probably going to play it with the weapon up. You're going to get +1/+1, which is roughly like an upgrade. So it's a 1 mana card for warrior. Hard to say whether it's better in rogue or warrior, because in warrior it's going to be more impactful than it is on rogue. Like if you have a 2/3 dagger versus like a 6/3 arcanite. Comparable to Greenskin. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Greenskin, I believe, is a 71 in Warrior. So I have this at 70. So either Greenskin goes up Sorry, either this goes up or Greenskin goes down, or both go up. But this card, yeah, probably needs to be compared to Greenskin, but it's a bit different because it's 4 power immediately, whereas Greenskin does not have that initiative, so it should be better than Greenskin. Yeah, theoretically it can go off twice. And it's a legendary, so well, Greenskin's a legendary too. Yeah, it's better than Greenskin for sure. Alright, that's good. Good consideration. Lore Keeper Polkelt, 4 mana 4/5. Battlecry, reorder your deck from the highest cost card to the lowest cost card. Is this card good? I don't even know. I gave it a 4-point premium over a Yeti. I think that's wrong. I think this is worse than a Yeti. I think this card's worse than Yeti. But I was like, I guess I was optimistic that like you can play this in the late game and then start top decking your late game cards. And you also know your draws, right? Because your draws will be highest to lowest. So you know your draws already. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure. I think I might be optimistic on this card. Good in aggro? Maybe. It's probably worse than Yeti. The more I think about it, the more it's probably worse than Yeti. Yeah. You know your draws too, so you know your fate. You know your fate. You know that polymorph is not coming. Alright. Headmaster Cultizad. 5 mana 4/6. I put it at 68. Certain classes will have a better score for this card. I put the highest score for Mage and Priest, because Priest has Shadow Word Pain, so you get a huge minion for it right away. 68 is the base score for a Pit Fighter, so a 5 mana 5/6. So I gave it a bit of a bonus. It's going to be worse in some classes too. But the best classes for this card is Priest, Mage, maybe Warlock with the AoE. Basically, if you kill a minion with a spell with this on the board and this lives, you get the minions that it kills. So it should be good in the AoE classes. Even cheap single target removal classes, it's probably going to be good. But I think it's decent. It needs some support, but the Temple Swing is quite strong. And it basically has taunt, because they're going to prioritize this card for sure. So you got Druid Shaman card, 3 mana 1/4, Rush Wind Fury. I put it 65. 65 is just under a Spider Tank. I think I put it at 70 for Druid. It's a bit better in Druid because Druid can at least buff it. So I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's like you want to play this at the same turn you play a spell, and I think Druid has more spells that are easier to play than Shaman, for example. I don't know. So I feel like this card is better than in Druid. So Spell Burst is basically an ability that triggers once when you play a spell. So a minion with Spell Burst will gain the ability after you played a spell. It can only happen once. So that's Spell Burst. Shando Wildclaw, Hunter, Druid, 3 mana 3/3, choose one, beast in your deck is +1/+1, or transform into a copy of friendly beast. I'm not 100% sure. So obviously, like, if you have no board, you play this as a 3/3, and then you buff your deck. If you have a strong beast on the board, you can play a 3 mana Faceless Manipulator. Is it? I mean, I have it at 63. A normal 3 mana 3/3 is a 50, so I already gave it a pretty good upside on it. I don't think it's super relevant, but there is some pretty good beasts right now. Definitely draftable beasts, so I mean the ability is going to be decent. High Abbess Allura. 4 mana 3/6 spell burst. Cast a spell from your deck. Okay, so that's kind of whack. Targets this if possible. Okay, so it's a Paladin Priest card. I think for Priest this card is like unplayable, but for Paladin it's way better. And I think the issue with this card also is that it takes the spell from your deck, not a copy of the spell. So I think this card has a negative effect for Priest. You can pull like Shower Pain, you can Pain itself, you can cast like an AoE that you don't want to cast. Yeah, you can do some stupid stuff with this card. You can like renew. Renew is okay, but for Paladin it's a little bit better because then you can pull like a buff. You'll likely pull a buff from your deck. You'll cast it on it, which makes it pretty powerful Temple Swing. It's way better than in Paladin for sure. Mind Control, but if you're playing this on turn 4 and you Mind Control the guy's 3-drop, aren't you pretty sad? You no longer have a Mind Control in your deck? I don't know, man. I think I would be. Unless you just find another, you have to find another one. But I think it's a drawback in Priest, but in Paladin it's pretty good. It's a good card. Yeah, they do have a couple buffs, yeah. But they have more spells that are removal spells. Alright, this is the last legendary for the set. And this is the last card for the set. Sphere of Sapience. 1 mana 0/4. At the start of your turn, look at your top card. You can put it at the bottom and lose 1 durability. So my understanding is you can only use its effect once per turn. So it takes 4 turns to exhaust this weapon. At least 4 turns. It's obviously better in non-weapon classes. Yes, it's very bad in Rogue. It's very good in longer strategy drafts. So I would say Priest, Mage. Those are the 2 classes that probably benefit from this card the most. It's strong. It's strong, but I'm not too sure how good it's going to be in Arena. I don't think it's an Arena card. It's similar to like Tracking, but the best thing about Tracking is that you get 3 cards at once. You get the immediate advantage right away. So I think the Sphere of Sapience, what happens is that when you draw a card, 2 options pop up. 2 options pop up. One is put it at the bottom. No, wait. One is the card, and then one is put it at the bottom. So then I think when you click put it at the bottom, you draw the next card. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a long-term game plan with this card. It's not going to be immediately realized. It's going to be better in like control classes or longer game drafts. It's good, but I don't think it's going to be that great in Arena. So I mean, I have it at 60. In Rogue, I think it's nearly unplayable. In Mage and Priest, it's probably better than some of these bad legendaries. So I'd probably take a shot with this, maybe.